Hello! It is the end of September as I'm recording this, and we are going into the final quarter of the year. That wonderful span of October to December, Halloween to Christmas. This is, I don't know, I just felt like chatting. So this is going to be a bit of a kind of TBR, kind of end of year planning. I read most of what I had on my summer specific TBR. I think I was pretty spot on in that the further to the end of that video, the further along the lines the books were, the more likely they were going to be bumped. That did happen, mostly because I was enjoying the Broken Earth trilogy, and so I just wanted to get the trilogy finished. So rather than jumping onto new series, I ended up finishing off that series. So I think number of books wise, I didn't do too badly. So I think I said Rage of Dragons, so I've not done that yet. The random sci-fi, I've not got around to that yet. Did I say Grace? I might have said Grace as Kings, so that's not happened yet. But that's okay. Most of the others I did. You know, I did Broken Earth. I read the Far Cry, the one in India. I did Dune. I have bought God Emperor of Dune. I don't know when I'll read that. I did speak to some friends recently and found out they were reading it, and they highly recommended it, and I can't wait now. So I might end up reading that sooner rather than later. So my current rough plan for the end of the year is to tackle some of the big fantasies, some of the books that I've had since May. Because you know what? I looked at my book haul video from that May sale offer thing. Not one of those books has been read yet. Not one. So I plan on making a dent. But if I'm really enjoying something, I will allow to buy the next in the series and just stick with it. So I've Shadow of the Gods, you know, its time is now, because now it's chilly. So if there is some snowy Viking goodness, now's the time, because it's gone bloody cold. But I'm also really intrigued by the Shadow of What Was Lost, and I think there's a few of these. I actually don't know if it's finished. That's something I should find out. So I know there's a few of these, so if I end up really liking this, I will give myself permission to put everything else on pause to keep going. So that's sort of where I'm at. I don't want to keep reading the first of trilogies and series. I kind of want to get things read and finished while I'm enjoying them. But that is dependent if they're quite full on. Sometimes I might want to break in between. So yeah, definitely more of a mood reader, if you can tell. But yeah, I want to make a little dent in that stack of fantasy books. And I love reading fantasy in the winter. There's just something fun about it. Like, I really think winter is just like a great time for stories like Lord of the Rings. And speaking of winter, I really want to reread Jonathan Strange and Mr. Norrell. I think that will be a December read for me, because it's been a long time since I've read it. I've read it twice so far, but it was a long time ago, and I love that book. And I think this is the year for that reread. Just as it was the time for the reread of Perdido Street Station, which I'm getting through, even though this has been like the background book for the last few weeks. I prioritized getting through Babel. I've sat and read that cabin book in 3 days, and yet I'm somehow making alright progress, so that'll speed up. Now it's my main book. Yeah, and it's a bit of a chunker, but yeah, I'll get through that. So I'm loving being back in this world. It is even weirder than I remember, but I absolutely love the mix of like fantasy, steampunk, and there's something about the city that just feels like so grimy and dirty, and it feels like the right kind of book for this time of year, because again, it's a city that feels kind of cold and grim. It's perfect. I'm enjoying it, loving it. So bringing it back to October, I have Your Body Is Not Your Body. So this was a not Kickstarter, but like a Kickstarter-esque book, with money going to trans youth in Texas, and this was supposed to be a little bit of body horror. I think it's body horror written by trans writers, and it's October, and now is the time for that bit of horror. I was sort of rifling is that the word? I was looking through this earlier, and I was seeing some of the artwork that's in here, and I am intrigued. Oh wow, this is great. I assume you can still buy this, even if you weren't part of the Kickstarter. I know it's not Kickstarter, but I'll just you know what I mean. So I've got that. I've got my second book that I got from the library, Heart-Shaped Box by Joe Hill. I haven't read any Joe Hill before, but I've only read one Stephen King so far, so that'll be quite funny that him and his son will be 1-for-1 by the time I read this book. So I don't know if any other horror books will sneak in October, or whether I'll be horrored out because I'll probably be watching some films, and I'm definitely going to play The Quarry. I've been waiting for October to play it. So I might want a little bit of a break from horror. Don't know. I'll see if anything sneaks in. I was so debating reading it because I've got it digitally, but that's 1,000 pages. 1,000, and I know how the stuff with the kids ends, which worries me and scares me, but the rest of the book intrigues me. But yeah, 1,000 pages seem like a lot to chuck in when I have a lot of big books on the horizon already. So I might stick to shorter books. And finally we'll finish this off, because let's not forget, I'm trying to catch up on a lot of Brandon Sanderson this year. Oh my god, we're so close to the first Kickstarter book. Is it in January? Oh, that is exciting. Okay, so the fourth Mistborn Era 2 book is out in like a month and a bit. And I got those 3 Mistborn Era 2 books. So they might also sneak their way in. I don't know what this is. And, if we still got the Mist hanging around, which you would hope, considering it's called Mistborn, then again, another book that is very fitting for the year. For this time of year, rather. There's something about, even though we've been struggling with the cold, the shift into the autumn season combined with the kind of books that I'm reading, has been like so satisfying. You know, I've already had like the fire going whilst reading Babel, you know, and hearing the rain outside. Oh, it's been glorious. It's been so nice. And as I've been saying, reading a book outside in the sun in the summer is fun and enjoyable, but it's a different type of enjoyment from reading a book inside when it's cold. And I was at the point where I was kind of done with the sun because we'd had so many heat waves. I was just ready for cooler weather, so I wasn't reading outside that much by the end of the summer. So now we've hit the season where I just want to cozy up in a blanket and read a book, and I'm loving it. It's so nice. Yeah, that's where I'm up to. I guess I could sit and list all the other books that are on my TBR fantasy shelf, but I think... Oh! Darkest Matter. So this has been on my long time TBR shelf. Would this be a good one for Halloween? When Ruby woke up on her 10th birthday, something about her had changed. Something frightening enough to make her parents lock her in the garage and call the police. Something that got her sent to Thurmond, a brutal government rehabilitation camp. She might have survived the mysterious disease that killed most of America's children, but she and the others emerged with something far worse, frightening abilities they could not control. I wonder if this will be a good one. The other thing is, I think it might be more of a children's book, and as I've said before, children's and YA I struggle to get into. But it's been sat there for so long, and I need to at least attempt to read it. So that might be a possibility. Ugh. Oh, so no, I love now my shelves. I really need to do like a shelf tour because there's so much more filled out than at the start of the year, and it just really makes me happy because now I've got my little library that I'm pulling books from. I'm just loving reading right now. I'm having a great time, and I hope that you're having a great time reading as well. Sorry if this is really rambly. I just wanted to sit and chat about my thoughts and plans, and I hope that wasn't too weird or too boring. Look forward to the next wrap up that will definitely include this and a couple of horror things. I was originally thinking I might not do a monthly wrap up at the end of the year because I thought with so many big books I might not have that much to talk about. But I'm not sure now. We will see. Because I've got some smaller books to fill in the little gaps. So I might have an October wrap up. I might have a quarterly wrap up. We'll see how it goes. I'm free and easy. Loosey goosey. And I better go before I just ramble on for like another 10 minutes. Thank you for watching. Hope you're enjoying whatever books you're reading. Tell me about it in the comments. And I'll see you soon. Bye! This is Halloween. This is Halloween. 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 Halloween.